Inside of a controller are segments, copper segments like this, which strike against a copper finger like that, making the contact. When you turn it on, it goes like this. When you turn it off, it goes like that. And as you advance the controller, if you want current at that point, it just slides right along. When you back off, at that point, you get an arc. If you do it slowly, that arc continues to arc, and it melts the metal and really ruins things. If you do it properly, it will arc somewhat, but not enough to do damage, except over a long period of time. It gradually does. So this is a pretty standard type of segment. This is the way controllers started, with a segment that once you burned off this end, you had to replace the whole thing. Well, that was obviously not economical to do, so then they came up with a renewable tip. And the first way that they started to do it was what they call the lock type. You can see that little locking tab there. And that worked pretty good. It doesn't twist, but if you notice, that's all that holds that on, and if the screw loosens up at all, the whole thing falls out and it jams, and then you have real problems in there. Now this is one that's used. You can see it's burned away somewhat. So these are obsolete, the lock type. The later type that they came up with, and I can't come up with a date right off, was the lap type. See how that laps over there, and that is very tight. The screw goes through both of them, and it will hold very nicely. So this is what we've standardized on all our cars. However, one of 100's controllers has, the original one that remained, has this lock type in there, and we're debating just how to preserve that rather unique type of thing. 100 isn't going to run that much, but still, these are so badly worn, I'm not sure how well it would run with it the way it is. So that's a decision to be taken. The original controller from 100, and this has the lock type segments. You can just barely make out the lock right on that. And the tip, that's called a burning tip, and that's just exactly what it did there. That one has burned beyond the point of being usable again. And this one here not only burned on one end, but it also burned on the other side of it right here. So not only is the burning tip didn't necessarily do it all, but it ate up the segment in back. So those are shot. Most every one of these is pretty bad. These right here we could probably use again. The trouble is with the lock type segments is they're obsolete, and if we had just a few made, it would become very expensive, so we have to figure that out. Some of these fingertips are riveted versus the more modern being bolted. That's called a compensating finger. This is the latest type, whereas this is an original type here. These tend to bend. It's a lot of labor. You have to grind that off, that rivet off, and it takes time. But I'd like to preserve them if we can, because it's something that 100 has, and that's how it ran into the shop with that. This is a K35 G2 controller.